In this video, we are going to learn how to create freeform tables in Google Analytics 4. So this is going to be a very simple video, or is it? Let's find out. So what are we going to cover? We are going to cover very basic things, how to name your reports. We are going to cover what are the various date range options. We are going to cover how to create simple tables with dimensions and metrics and how we can complicate them. We are going to see how to add segments to the reports. We are going to see how to add filters to the report. We are going to see how to create multiple report tabs. Yes, that is an option. How to share your reports, how you can download your reports, and how to identify whether your report is based on sampled data versus non-sampled data. All right, so why this video is important? What is the challenge that we are facing right now? So reporting in Google Analytics 4 is very different when it's compared to Universal Analytics, and this new reporting is confusing many users, right? Many users are used to creating their reports for years now in Universal Analytics, and they're finding this new interface non-intuitive, and this is preventing many users to effectively use Google Analytics 4 to drive their digital strategy. However, Google Analytics 4 is an amazing tool once you understand the reporting capability that this particular tool offers, and I would even go ahead and say that in many aspects, the reporting interface of Google Analytics 4 is even better than Universal Analytics. All right. So how this video is going to help you? This video is going to provide you a clear explanation on how to access the reporting UI. This video is going to provide you a clear explanation on how to create the reports. This video is going to provide you a clear explanation on the various components of the freeform reports. Okay, so if you are ready, I am ready. Some people are saying that we were born ready, boy. So let's start it then without any more nonsense. Alright, let's start the meat of the video with the first two topics, that is how to name your reports and what are the various date range options. What is this doggy doing here? So when you log into your Google Analytics 4 property, this is how mostly it should look. Obviously the numbers would be different, but here you will see the various options. Now when we want to create the freeform reports, we will not go into reports, but rather we will go to explore. And these are the subtle things that are actually making it confusing for the people and non-intuitive to say. All right. So again, repeating that if we want to create the reports, we have to go to Explore. Now, in Explore, you have the various templates that are there, right? And to make things simple, I will just suggest that you click on the blank, right? And this is how it will look. Now, as I discussed that in this section, we are going to cover how we can name the reports and how we can choose the date range of this report. So naming is very easy. It's just shouting over there that name me. So you can just, let's say, name it YT tutorial. Yeah. And date range, selecting that also is very easy. These are the rolling date ranges. So let's say if you select this week, then every time you open the report, irrespective of when you are opening it, it will always show you the data for that particular week. Similarly, if you select last 30 days, then irrespective of when you're opening this report, it will always show you the data for last 30 days from that particular day on which you are opening the report. Other than that, you can choose a custom date range for your report and just select it like this. And there is an also option of compare over here. So you can choose the comparison period between whatever you want to choose as your date range and what you want to compare it with. Okay, simply click on apply and your date range will get applied to the report. Moving further, how to create a table with dimensions and metrics. This doggy is saying something. So when you want to add any kind of metrics or any kind of dimensions to create your report, so first what you need to do is decide on the metrics and dimensions that you will be adding to it, right? So all the metrics and dimensions are not available by default. So when you read over here that select a dimension, if you have not added a dimension in advance, you will not see anything. Similarly, if you have not added any metric in advance, you will not see anything. And these are the things that are again confusing people. So to add the dimensions, you simply click on the plus sign over here with the dimensions. And you will see that the categories of the reports are alphabetical. So the good part is that they are categorized, but yeah, they are alphabetical and not as per the popularity of the report. But it's decent, I would say. You can just find all the reports that you want to see. So it gives all reports, predefined reports and custom reports, right? So let's, for the sake of simplicity, focus on predefined. And to create a simple report, we can focus on simple examples. Let's say we go to page or screen. So we can choose the dimensions that we want. So we can choose, let's say, page location and page path and screen class. So these are the two dimensions that we have. And then for metrics, it makes sense to add views as a metric. Remember that there are no page views, they are just views, right? So we can select this. And yeah, so now when we have to choose a dimension, so when you click over here, then you can see the list of dimensions that you already have over here. So if we select page location, and then when we go to values, we can choose a metric. So this is how the pages report will get populated. So these are the pages and the respective views for those pages, right? Now if you want to add another dimension to this, you can add page path and screen class here itself. Now this is where this is more flexible when you want to do any kind of ad hoc reporting, because if you remember in Universal Analytics, if you wanted to create a custom report, then there was a lot of back and forth. It was not very easy to do the analysis on the fly. But here it's very convenient. So I can also do just drag and drop as well, and this particular dimension will get added. Right, so it's easy to do analysis. So once you get a hang of it, it's very it gets very intuitive from there, and it's easy to do the analysis with this one. Okay, now again, if you need any more dimensions, you go back. Let's say we want this time platform and device, right? So we can choose the device category, import it, and then drag that over here. Get dragged, please. Right, now there are some other options over here. So you can choose on the number of rows that you want to see, right? A good option that I like is the nesting. So where was that? Yeah, nested rows. So you can make it yes, and this will, as you can see, perform nesting based on the first column that is over here. And it can help to analyze the report for some users, right? And yeah, more or less without complicating anything, in 90% of the cases, this is how you are going to create a simple table. And if you want to create any kind of, you want to add any new metrics, then you follow the same process. You go over here and you choose the metrics that you want, right? And you add that. Okay, so by now I feel that you understand how to access Freeform table, you understand how to create a Freeform table, right? And let's move further with the other topics in this video. We will now see how to add segments to the reports. Now to create segments, as you can see, or you would have already guessed, is it's very apparent over here, just above dimensions, it's segments, and you click plus, then you get access to all the segments that are there. No, it does not work like that. So the major difference that you will find when it comes to Universal Analytics versus Google Analytics 4 is that in Universal Analytics, you could create segments and you could repurpose them on your reports across the interface. So across your custom reports, as well as the various categories of reports, namely acquisition, audience, behavior, etc. You could use those segments, but here when you click on segments, then you need to create the segments again. So here there are some templates, right? So if I have to give a simple example of template, then we can go to demographics and see the various demographics related dimensions that are there. You can create the filters and based on that you can create a segment. But in general, when you are creating custom segments, then the three basic categories of segments are there, which are your user level segment, session level segment, and event based segment. Okay, so I will not go into too much depth into these, but at a high level, if I have to explain, just because we are on this topic, is that every hit that is going to be sent to the Google Analytics property is in the form of an event, right? And when the events for a certain predefined time, they are combined together, then they form a session for the time bracket that you have defined for your inactivity, right? And one user, when they are having the same cookie ID or the identifier, it can be a user ID, will comprise of multiple segments. So the biggest segment, the biggest data that you will get will be from users, then segments, then events. I know many people confused, because when they're imagining, they imagine the hits, so there are more hits, that's why the data should come with events. It does not work like that, because a user is having multiple sessions, and each of those sessions are having multiple hits. So when you say that show me a user for which a page is equal to the home page, then you will get all the data, all the sessions of that user, even those data points where the page was not a home page, right? But if you create a segment for event where the page was the page home page, then you will get only that data where the event had a hit where page location was the home page, right? Just let's cover session as well. So extending the same example, if you create a segment where you want the data where the page contain home page, then you will get the data for the entire session where one of the pages were home page, but there were other pages as well. Okay, so you need to understand what's the use case that you want to create, how you want to segment the data, and then you can apply these segments, right? So now I will create a simple segment wherein since we basically work with international clients, we do not have many clients in India, and we run ads also internationally. So we want to create a segment where we can say that geography, where country, right? And then we can create a filter, contains, or we can say does not contain, and to keep things simple, we can say does not contain India, right? And we can say that international users. Okay, so this is a segment that is available with us, right? So now we have the international users and we have the total users. For the sake of simplicity, let's remove page path and screen. Okay, so here we have totals and internationals, and then what we can do, we can add another segment, and let's say this time we want contains India. Now we have international users and we have Indian users. Okay, so when you work with segments, you also get the option of pivot, right? So you can just pivot on the basis of first row, last row, first column, last column. So if right now it's first column, but if I say select first row, so as you can see, the layout of the table changes. Again, it's very convenient as compared to Universal Analytics, the way we were creating the reports over there. So the entire focus that is there on when it comes to Google Analytics 4, when it comes to reporting, is to facilitate ad hoc analysis, facilitate analysis on the fly. That's why I mentioned at the beginning of this video that if you get a hang of reporting in Google Analytics, then this is more convenient than Universal Analytics. It's more advanced to facilitate any kind of analysis, and when you want to generate insights and properly understand the user behavior, it's more convenient to do that over here in this interface as compared to how we used to do it in Universal Analytics. So I hope that helps you understand how you can apply segments. I cannot go into too much detail into how to create segments, etc., because that can be a separate video altogether. But assuming that if you know already the concepts of segments, then this is how you can apply them to your reports. Okay, moving further with how to add filters to the reports. This dog is cute. So adding filters is very easy. To add the filter, you just scroll down here, right, and you see filters. Now just click on this and you will get the option to apply the filters based on the components of your report, right? So as you can see over here, this is allowing you to apply filter only on the components. If you want to apply any kind of filter, let's say a segment is also essentially a filter, which with the components that are not present in this particular report, then you can use a segment to do that. Okay, so we can choose either the dimensions or the metrics. So let's say I choose device category, and then it's very simple. It provides the various options. Exactly matches, contains, begins with, ends with, regex is also there, does not exactly match, does not contain, does not begin with, does not end with, does not match regex, right? So we can say exactly matches, and then we can say that it should be only desktop, right? And then you just apply, and you can apply multiple filters over here, so you can add more conditions, and then you will see the data only for the filters that you are creating over here. So it's very convenient, it's very easy to use, particularly the regex. It makes it very, very convenient to filter your data. You can, and I'll come to the next topic and tell you how you can use filter across different reports and create variations of the report, right? Let's see now how to create multiple report tabs. This is one of my favorite features when it comes to the new reporting interface that Google Analytics offers, which is you can create multiple report tabs in the same main report, to say. So you can create a theme of reports. So if you are analyzing any particular campaign or any particular landing page, or you want to create, let's say, different themes of reports, e-commerce reports, wherein you want to see the conversion funnel, you want to see the e-commerce by device categories, you want to see the product wise information, you want to see the SKU wise information, etc., etc., etc. So you can create a series of reportlets within the same report, and you can also, I think, duplicate it. So yeah, so you can duplicate it, right, and then you can rename the report based on the use for this particular report. Okay, now when I was saying that you can use filters in with the various reportlets as well, so essentially what you can do is, if here I have applied the filter only for desktop, right, so here it's around desktop, so I can say this is desktop report. Okay, and here what I can do, I can change the filter, and here instead of desktop I can make it mobile, right, and this becomes a mobile report. So this is a very simple example just to explain the features of the reporting interface, but as you can understand that this is a very powerful feature. So it's not only applicable to creating freeform tables, but when you create a new tab, you can even create your funnel exploration, segment overlaps, path exploration. So you can create a theme of reports, right? So that makes it very powerful, because if there are certain categories of reports that you want to analyze on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, then you can simply do that in one main report and everything is related to it. If you are doing any kind of analysis, right, so you have created one report with which you have deduced some insights, and now you want to create another report which is an extension of this report, or is a variation of this report, or some other data points with a similar theme that you have derived from the first report. So you can also do that. So you can create a series of related analysis and create a big picture in one report, so that everything makes sense. So all the features that have been added, I'm repeating this again and again, is to facilitate analysis when it comes to using Google Analytics 4. And this is a great leap forward when compared with Universal Analytics, especially when it comes to doing ad hoc analysis for insight generation. We will now see how we can share the reports. So to share the reports, you will guess that you click over here, and then right now it's already shared. So now if I click on it, then you will click over here and it will give you the option that share with others, and this exploration will be shared with all users of the explorations property in read only mode. Focus on this, read only mode. Okay, so this is this can sometimes raise questions, because if you are an agency or if you are creating reports for others, then the follow-up question would be that I want to edit this report, then how do I do that? Because right now it's on read only mode. And what would happen is that as and when you make changes to this particular report, so they can also access the data. They cannot change the components of the report, but as in when you add the new components, you modify the contents of this report, whoever you are sharing this with, they can also access this data. Another thing to notice over here is that it just says that this is accessible to all the people who have the access to this particular property. So there is no as such segment of audience to which you want to share, or any individual with whom you want to share. It gets shared with everybody. Right now that is how the product is. In future it might change, but right now it gets shared with everyone. Okay, so once it gets shared with everyone, so when you will open your exploration tab, and then when you see owners, so you will see the reports that have been shared with you by others and your own reports as well. So since the name of this account is DataVinci Delivery, so that's why all the reports are here, since no account reports have been shared with DataVinci Delivery for this particular property, because it's just our own property. We are not seeing anything, but when someone shares the report with you, you will see the name of the owner, and you will also see the name of the report. Okay. Now the question arises that what if I want to change the components of that report? What if I want to edit that report? Then what you need to do, you need to click on the three dots, and you need to create on duplicate. Okay, so you will create a duplicate of the report that has been shared with you. Now obviously that is a separate report instance, and when someone makes edits or changes to the original report, they will not get reflected in your report, because now it's a duplicate which is there with you, and that is only available with you. It does not get shared with everybody else in the who is having access to the property. It's your own personal report. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you can share the reports. I understand it's a limitation wherein we cannot share certain reports only with some people. It's just the way it is, that it will get shared with everyone at the moment. Okay, moving further with how to download the reports. So when it comes to download, I think it's very easy to understand that you can just click on this icon, and then you get the options to download the report. You can directly export to Google Sheets. You can get in TSV, CSV, PDF. PDF all tabs means all the reports that you have, all the tabs that you have created. Okay, but the thing that you want to focus over here is that the data volume that you finally export or you finally download depends on the number of rows that you have selected from show rows. So if you select 25, then the PDF will also contain 25, right? If you set this to 100, then the PDF will also produce a result with 500 rows. So that is something that you need to be aware of depending on your use case, and before sending any data or sharing any data with anyone, that if you set this to 25, don't expect that it will get the data for all the rows. And if you have too many rows, then you also need to get this in separate instances one by one, and then create your data like that. Okay, finally, let's see how we can identify whether the data in our reports is based on sample data or non-sample data. Okay, so to check whether thresholding has been applied or not, you need to go to the top right corner, and here if you see a check mark, right? So you are getting 100% of data, there is no sampling. But if you see this caution, that means thresholding has been applied. So thresholding gets applied in a few cases. So the most common case is when you apply Google Signals in your reporting identity. So Google Signals is provided by Google Analytics, wherein Google uses the IDs of logged in users who are using Google accounts and using Google products, and based on that they identify a user across different platforms, across different devices, because they know that this is the same users and they're using the Google account who is using the different accounts. So it's kind of a black box, so you cannot totally understand or totally identify how this is working behind the scenes, because Google is saying that this is the same user according to them and this person was using the same Google account, that's why this is the same person. And since Google deduplicates this data based on how they identify a user or a visitor, then the data that you will see without Google Signals on and with Google Signals on is very different. Now Google does not, like Google Analytics does not export data to BigQuery for Google Signals. So if you compare the data in BigQuery for a property where Google Signals has been applied, then you will see that Google Analytics reports less data and Google BigQuery reports more data, because in Analytics the data is based on Google Signals, and in BigQuery Google Signals is not applied. So typically this is how you can see that whether the data is based on like total complete data, 100% unsampled report, or it is based on some kind of sampling. Sampling, mostly even when you're using Google Signals, it gets applied, but it always gets applied when you're using demographics reports, the age, gender, etc. And this used to happen even with Universal Analytics. But the thing that you need to understand over here is that to even enable or access the demographics reports, you need to enable Google Signals, right? So just be careful about that. And if you want a very to the point data that should match with your backend, then that match rate can go down when you use Google Signals. Even the data for conversions can go down when you use Google Signals. But obviously the user identification improves. So it's a very confusing situation wherein you assume that if you put in Google Signals, then the user identification, the data volume should improve because everyone is using Google account, so the data should be better reported, but actually the data volume gets reduced, and that can create confusions. So use Google Signals after carefully considering all the situations, and observe the data, what happens, understand how the various stakeholders are responding to the application of Google Signals when they are using the data, and then only use it. But in general, if you have to identify whether the data is having any kind of sampling or not, this is how you do that. If it's a check mark, no sampling. If it's a caution mark, then thresholding has been applied. All right. So your new superpowers have been unlocked. My name is Sanmeet Singh Walia, founder at DataVinci Consulting. I'm creating these videos to generate awareness about our services. So if you need any help in getting accurate data, creating actionable reports, conversion optimization, so that you can optimize your UX and marketing efforts based on data, just give me a call. Wish you well. Subscribe.